Explain how you've just been canceled to the audience.
I've just been canceled because nobody liked my actions. So my reputation is ruined. Man, no one's going to want to work with me now.
Just like that 19-year-old girl who got her scholarship revoked from the University of Tennessee.
Let's talk about that.
That's so bad. That's so bad to happen for that person. She's a student athlete that's been working for that scholarship most of her life.
Yeah.
And still, just because of, remembering something.
I mean, but posting the N-word and, like, posting it on Snapchat
But
for
she was
everyone to
15.
see.
Yeah, of course.
She's a kid.
She's having, like...
Her frontal lobe is not developed
Yeah,
yet.
her judgment is not even there.
I get it, but at the same time, like, when you're 15, you still have, like, some maturity level. And, especially because she's white and, like, I don't know who her friends are or what, but we've all been around, like, people who say, like, the N-word isn't right just because of, like, the past history and, like, context of that word. Okay. So, the fact that she knew...
How did the first video not have as much impact as it had on the second one? Right? Because it came back up because a person posted it first. And it was posted at the time when the Black Lives Matter movement was being done. So maybe that had to be a little bit more... That had to be done with it. Like, it had to do with it. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I think that's the part that I find interesting. The fact that when she was 15, when that story was posted and it was to the public, her friend, who was actually black and took offense to that, sent that video to her cheer captain to hold her accountable. And the cheer captain did nothing. And throughout her whole high school career, from what she actually got her scholarship from the University of Tennessee, she was never questioned about that. So how can we hold her accountable, right? And the fact that the person that saved that video then sent it out to social media again during the Black Lives Matter movement, I think that just goes to show the point of white privilege and how this problem wasn't talked about.
Well, I think that she should have been punished when she was 15, rather than later when she has already achieved, getting accepted to this college and getting her scholarship. Because now she worked her whole life, to get that. And now that she had it, it was taken away from her from something she did years ago. And even though she should have consequences, I feel like it's way too extreme for what she did.
I mean, I wouldn't really, like, agree with that, honestly, because I don't know, like, how do I word this? Like, yes, she was 15, and it's just at the time, like, nobody cared, like, nobody cared, but yet still someone took offense to it, and they weren't able to, like, receive an apology or their justice, so their feelings, like, weren't valid and they weren't cared for. And then until, I'm guessing the person that also, like, posted it, because Black Lives Matter happened in, like, 2019, so it was the first time where, like, people were actually being, like, represented and also sharing, like, how white privilege has affected them and how, like, black people are a part of the community. And I guess, like, the person who reposted it just felt like it was valid to post at the time.
While I agree with you, I feel like maybe that person was just bullying that other person who posted the video.
Or maybe they saw her as hypocritical, because she's out here saying the N-word, slinging it all over social media.
Like, in that span of time?
Going back to what she said, like, how do you know that the person that's reposting this video is not reposting it because of a vendetta, right? Like, what would be the reason for that, to bring it up again later on after 3 years?
I think to prove a point. I can't speak for her, right? Because a lot of things are coming out of context. But to prove a point that back then, nobody cared. And now that it's trending, right? When Black Lives Matter movement became such a big thing, it became a trend. Now that she could post it, then she got the justice. And I feel like that's the point that brought it. The fact that it's not into attention now because now all of a sudden everybody cares.
However, this guy, after all that, he still responded to the audience that was trying to cancel him by saying, like, you should go look into this, like, link if you were hurt by my joke. And it was, like, a page to buy helmets.
for special need helmets. And so he basically has not learned from what cancel culture is trying to teach him.
He is like a representation of
Okay,
that
so
boy.
going into that,
could
where do you
say.
guys draw the line?
Yeah,
Where's like the line drawn for all of that?
yeah. I do think that cancel culture draws the line for celebrities, most specifically like that, because the 19-year-old girl, I do, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, that was a little bit unfair, that the fact that she was affected by her career even years after that. But him being a celebrity, him being an influencer, him having a bunch of followers, knowing that, he may push it aside saying, I don't care about it, here's a link for you. He's not talking about, but we can see behind the scenes that,
Holding him accountable.
yeah,
right?
we can see behind the scenes that slowly other comedy clubs may not allow him to do his acts anymore because of that. So I think it is necessary, it is effective, and that's where we draw the line.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like celebrities should be punished more for, I guess, through cancel culture, because they have, like what you said, they have an audience, they have people who follow them who want to be like them, and so they do need to punish more severely, because like what you said, Matt Rife is just continuing to do what he's doing because he still has followers, he still has money, and so he's just ignoring it. And while that 19-year-old girl, her whole life was ruined. She got punished very hard, and now that video is going to keep coming up when she wants to get a job or when she wants to get into another school, and it was just for that 3-second video that she posted when she was 15.
I do agree with that. Here's the thing: is like I'm pro cancel culture. Like it does teach a lesson, and it does give like awareness to not only celebrities.
Can it violate like speech wise though? Like a person's freedom of speech, can it violate that though? Like wanting to cancel them.
Here's the thing: is speech. You have protected speech, and then you have unprotected speech. So unprotected speech is anything that starts like violence or threats or anything of a sort, and anything else is just kind of like if you want to talk about like your religion, but it also depends on like the time and the place and the awareness. Like yes, we have freedom of speech, but there are limitations to it.
Okay, so my question too is like when it comes to comedy, like since we're talking about the comedy, when you go see these people, I feel like most people, when you get tickets for this person to see them perform, right, you would know how they do their comedy, like their jokes.
What are you trying to say from that?
Like most people know where like their dark humor or like their sexist jokes, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say to those people that are buying the tickets to go see them in person, right? Because it's an audience that they're performing in front of.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing, and now I get what you're trying to say. So, like let's say you're at a regular like comedy cellar or whatever, and you're performing, right? I think the difference is with Netflix. One, it's an incredibly huge platform. Like millions, maybe even billions of people have Netflix. With his being like recorded and posted on this huge like network,
Platform.
yeah, like on this huge platform, I think it's still better on his half, and it looks better on him as a person and as a comedian to be like, hey, like, yes, I do tend to have like a dark humor. I do follow this dark humor, I do talk about it, but also still be like in the beginning or even before even making a joke, be like, just like a warning of like, I do not mean this, or I do not really support this, but, and then just like follow in,
But not everybody's up to date, like to the changing world. So what would be the pros and cons of all of this?
Well, that's what I mean. But that's what I would answer by draw the line. By become more aware of that, by having everyone agree to those terms. There's limits as freedom of speech, like you said, and it's a First Amendment right that we all have, freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want, but the limit is if it's hurting someone intentionally, and even if you try to play it off as a joke, just say it's a joke at the beginning and that your intentions are not to hurt them, because we're all trying to live in a society, trying to work together. Anyone who jokes about it or tries to make light of the situation without, clarifying it could confuse some people.
So what should change, guys?
I think what should change should be punishments and consequences to be, less for people that do not have an audience that look up to them, and maybe more into the people that are celebrities and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying have less of a punishment for, I guess, like normal people like us, and then more of a punishment for celebrities
Not
who.
more of a punishment, but much of hold them accountable for it. You know, maybe not canceling them,
Mm-hmm.
but
Okay.
holding them
Have like the
accountable for it.
punishment fit the crime for what they did.
Okay. So like, cause you know they have the platform and a lot of like.
Mhm.
Okay, I see what
A
you're
lot
trying
of
to say.
reach.
I agree. Yeah, I think even though I do think cancel culture is good, and I'm honestly for it, just because it does hold some people accountable, well, a lot of people accountable for like what they do or what they say. I do think that some of the punishments, and I guess that's where you can decipher the punishment between like celebrity and like normal people, can vary.
It can vary very much.
Yeah.
For one, it can ruin their life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because normal people, they don't really have the followers, they don't have the money as celebrities do. And so, like the case before with Mimi Groves, the 19-year-old girl, her whole life was ruined because of like what I said, that 3-second video that she did, and she can't really do anything to fix it because it's already done. But with Matt Rife, you know, he still continues to do his job as a comedian, and he's not really affected by any of it. And so I feel like in order for it to be effective, it needs to punish less those who are normal and more for celebrities.
I get what you're saying now. Yeah. I guess I was so extreme in the fact of justice when it came to Mimi. But now that you're pointing it out, it makes sense. She was 15 years old. We don't know much about it, and I feel like that's one of the biggest flaws in cancel culture is we have a lot of things that come into social media and we are like out of context.
Is it true?
And then is it
Yeah.
true?
Yeah.
And then is it and then it's
Yeah.
bias of like
Mhm.
whoever posted it, did they want them to be
Yeah, like are they doing it out of justice,
That's
or are they doing it out of like vengeance?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And some of the pros of cancel culture would be, you know.
Yeah,
It's-
so overall, I feel like people who are listening, or all people, should just fact check all rumors, you know, do their own research rather than following the crowd, you know, being the group bias. And even though that means, you know, you're the one standing out, you're the one that knows the information and you don't contribute to that bullying or to those misunderstandings.
Yeah, so like don't be afraid to have your own opinion or like
Mm-hmm.
stick out. Like if you still want to follow this person, like honestly go for it, because you don't trust all the facts, like completely agree. Don't be afraid to have your own opinion, and that's one major thing that the audience should take away from all of this.
Yeah. That's a pretty
Yes.
good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Do
agree.
not be sheep.
Do not be yeah.
Do
don't-
not what?
Do not be sheep.
Do not be
Do
sheep.
not be sheep. That's true.
Do not be a sheep, be the wolf.
Mhm.
Oh.
Oh.
Interpret that how you will, guys. Just there.
I know.
Wait, can we do the